we're down to two teams, only two teams after what transpired on this past Thursday and this past Friday. We're down to two teams. And next Monday, well, technically this Monday, since it's Tuesday, is the national championship game. Literally, we were ready and hyped for the 2025 season. And then we blink and we snap our fingers, and now we're at the end of the season. It's bittersweet. It's very bittersweet, but this is why we do what we do. We love covering college football, and this is why we are in this sport. Just talking about college football and covering the sport. We're ready to rock and roll. We're going to recap the College Football Playoff Semifinal because we got to get to that before we jump into Thursday, right? And we're going to talk about a little bit, not a lot of it, because we're going to have a transfer portal episode, a full transfer portal episode after the season ends and after the season concludes, like literally the next week after the season concludes. But we're going to give you some latest and give you some of my favorite moves and some of my thoughts on some of these top moves that have been made in the portal, in the past few days. Guys, we're ready to rock and roll. Welcome to Pigskin Frenzy on this beautiful, and I mean beautiful, Tuesday afternoon. Thank you for joining us. I'm Joel Norris. Whether you're watching on YouTube, listening on Spotify, Podbean, or Apple, a big thank you for taking some time out of your Tuesday to just sit back, watch, and listen to some college football coverage presented by me. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, like each episode, leave comments down below, subscribe on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button. We're building on YouTube, man. It has been awesome building on YouTube. Literally, we're at like 67,000, about to be at 68,000 channel views, getting up there in subscribers. Keep subscribing to the channel. It is awesome. Guys, Podbean, Spotify, Apple, all you got to do is share around with others and follow on there as well. X and Instagram is at Pigskin_Frenzy. Hit the follow button on there. You're going to want to engage with me. You're going to want to talk to the prodigy of college football. You're going to want to hear my takes and hear my thoughts on the sport. And you'll get your latest episodes from Pigskin Frenzy. The website is www.pigskinfrenzy.weebly.com for latest on Pigskin Frenzy updates there. Guys, we are at 6,400 listeners. 6,400 listeners across all audio platforms. YouTube, the numbers are, like I said, just going up. 67,000 YouTube channel views. Guys, a huge thank you for tuning in each and every Tuesday and Thursday. We could not do this without you guys. Most importantly, we could not do this without our Lord and Savior, Jesus. Without him, we would not be in college football media. We give him all the glory. We give him all the praise, because without him, we would not be here doing this, and we would not be doing the thing that we love to do. That's talk about college football, but most importantly, he wouldn't give us the platform to spread his name across all platforms, and that's what we're doing now. So we give him all the glory, all the praise. Guys, if you don't know Jesus, if you want to come to know Jesus, it's the best decision you can ever make in your life. Contact me, X and Instagram, at Pigskin_Frenzy. And not only that, there's contact info on the website, www.pigskinfrenzy.weebly.com. It's the best decision you can ever make in your life. We wouldn't do this without him, so we give him all the glory and praise. Guys, we're ready to rock and roll. Let's talk some college football. Let's recap the College Football Playoff Semifinal. As I clear my throat, here we go. Miami and Ole Miss was a game, man. It really was. It was a classic of a game. It was back and forth. I had a feeling that it was going to be close, though. I knew Ole Miss was going to put up a fight. I didn't think anything different. I thought Ole Miss was going to fight and put up a fight. I just thought Miami was going to be a little bit more aggressive. He was going to be a little bit more aggressive, and they were going to win the ball game just outright. A little bit of a high-scoring affair, right? But we got it right. Final score of this game was Miami 31, Ole Miss 27. Miami 31, Ole Miss 27. Miami is going to the national championship, going back home to the national championship. They're the first team in the history of the sport to have a home national championship game. So home field advantage, everything goes to Miami, and Miami is going to wear their away jerseys at home, which is crazy to think about in this sport. Excuse me, as they go to a national championship at home. Usually they would wear orange or green or whatever, but Miami 31, Ole Miss 27. I thought Miami was going to win the ball game, and they did. There are some positive circle moments. There's some negative circle moments. We're going to break that down right now. 2-0 in my picks, by the way, which is pretty solid. Shout out to Cruz Oxenrider. Cruz Oxenrider did fairly well in the guest picks as well. Carson Beck, 23 for 37, 268 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception in this game. He also had a rushing touchdown, 1 rushing touchdown to seal the game, and it was back and forth at the very end. I felt like it was one of those games in where Miami was dragging Ole Miss into their own ball game. Which what I mean by that is the physical, tough, low-scoring style of play. Because let me just say this: throughout the playoffs, Miami's offense hadn't set the world on fire, and I'm not trying to, it's not a knock. I'm just being real. Look at the numbers; they've not set the world on fire. You look at A&M; they only scored 10 points against Texas A&M in College Station. You look at the quarterfinal Cotton Bowl; they scored 24 points. And then now, I mean, it seems like they're coming along. They're getting better and better and better. So I'm going to give them their props. They are getting better. I mean, 31 points in this game. Carson Beck played well. In some aspects, I think he could have done better in the second half, I believe. Mark Fletcher was a huge impact player in this game. He was a positive circle moment. 133 rushing yards, 22 carries. Shamar Brown, 1 rushing touchdown, 54 yards, 14 carries, as I'm looking here on the monitor here. And then Keelan Marion. Keelan Marion. Keelan Marion, 7 receptions, 114 yards, 1 touchdown. He had 16.3 yards per average of reception. Malachi Toney, 81 yards, a touchdown, 5 receptions in this game. Man, the defense was great in this game as well. Mesidor and Bain didn't, have the same kind of impact that they did against Ohio State, but the defense overall stepped up in a lot of ways. Those are some of the positive circle moments. Let's go to the overall team stats. I mean, 459 total yards in this game. Positive. So click into the pin, ladies and gentlemen. Positive key circle moment here on Pigskin Frenzy for this game was 459 yards in this game. Very good. I mean, obviously, very good, especially against Ole Miss's defense, who's been, playing a little bit physical throughout these playoffs as well. And then rushing yards, 191 rushing yards compared to their 121 rushing yards. They were 11 for 19 on third downs. They won the third down battle. Yes, they dominated in time of possession. 41 minutes compared to Ole Miss's 18 minutes. So that's a huge reason and a huge recipe to winning a football game. They dominated it in time of possession, and they clearly were on the field much, much longer than Ole Miss's offense was, which is pretty good in the overall aspect of the game. I will say here are the negative circle moments. I think 4 sacks allowed in this game. I also think 10 penalties for 74 yards. I think they were killing themselves with penalties late in the game. Honestly, and this is not really a knock at anything, I think this game could have been a little bit lopsided as the game went on. I think Miami kind of stumbled a little bit and kind of left their foot off the gas in a lot of ways and just stumbled a little bit later in the game. I really do. I think this game could have been a lot worse. A lot worse. I kept saying that on X, on Pigskin_Frenzy, follow on there. I could have said, this game, honestly, this is just be real. This game could have probably been maybe 42-17, maybe. If you look on paper, it could have been. If you look at how the style of play was, and at least in the first part of the game, yeah, it could have been a lot worse. I commend Ole Miss for staying in it. I commend Ole Miss for fighting and showing some heart. I think Miami they played really well at the very end, yes, but I think they kind of almost let that game slip away from them. They really did in a lot of ways. The penalties were crucial. The interception was costly as well. Could have been costly as well. They allowed 4 sacks. I mean, I think the game could have slipped away from them a little bit. That's a concern. Put your foot on the pedal and don't let off. Don't just floor it. You don't ease your foot on the pedal. If you're trying to test out a fast car, I'm not encouraging this, obviously, but usually when you're racing in a NASCAR race or whatever, but you floor it, right? You go around the track. This is the same thing here. You floor it. Miami didn't floor it. They let their foot off the gas a tiny bit, and I think that was a big negative there, especially for the team you're playing in the national championship. Huge negative. So we're going to see what happens in the national championship. Miami is going to the Natty coming up Monday. Monday, I believe, the time on Monday coming up is at 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central on ESPN, ABC. The national championship will be hosted on there. But Miami, Yeah, Miami got a good win. They are in the national championship. Are they back? I mean, it's looking like they're back, right? Everyone's going to say that they're back. Do not tell Coach Cristobal that, obviously. The 1-0 mentality is where they are at right now. They're trying to bring that 1-0 mentality to the national championship, and we'll see how it happens. But the 1-0 mentality has carried in all the way to a title game. So final score was 31-27. Miami gets the win over Ole Miss. They're going to the national championship. It's the first time in my lifetime that I've seen, well, in my lifetime they've been in a national championship. It's the first time as a guy watching football, that's a guy covering the sport, that I've seen Miami go to the national championship. I've been waiting for a long time. Now we're seeing Miami go to the national championship. The final score was 31-27 in this game. Let's talk about Ole Miss. Credit to Pete Golding and credit to this team for staying in it and for showing some fight. So that's a big positive circle moment for this Ole Miss team here. Trinidad Chambliss in this ball game was exceptional, I believe. I mean, 277 yards, 1 touchdown, 23 for 37. Kewan Lacey, 103 yards, 11 carries, 1 touchdown in this game. Trinidad Chambliss ran it a little bit, not too much. Deshaun Stribling had 5 receptions, 77 yards. Caden Lee, 67 yards, 5 receptions. They shared the ball a lot. Daquan Wright with a big touchdown play, 1 touchdown reception, 64 yards and 3 receptions. He averaged 21.3 yards per reception. They sacked Carson Beck 4 times, by the way. Miami allowed 4 sacks. They were giving it to Miami in the line of scrimmage. I think they played really tough in the line of scrimmage. That's a positive circle moment as well. They shared the ball a lot, and the running game was exceptional as well. That's a positive circle moment, especially when Kewan Lacey was kind of beat up with that lower leg and hamstring injury as well. Man, if you look at overall, I think 277 passing yards to 121 rushing yards. I know the 121 rushing yards compared to their 191, that's not setting the world on fire against Miami, yes. But I'm going to tell you what, man, they still showed some heart. They still showed some fight. Kewan Lacey ran the ball really well, especially when he was beat up. So those are some positive circle moments there. 6.6 yards per play was another positive circle moment for this team. I think they were a little bit of electrifying on offense. I felt, like I said, I still feel that this game could have gotten away from Ole Miss, but when Miami started slowing down a little bit and Ole Miss started playing more physical and playing more tough, showing some heart, they were fighting, and I admire that about Ole Miss in this game. 4 penalties for 34 yards, not really too bad, so I guess that's okay. I think the 2 biggest negatives in this game were they didn't have the ball long enough, and I think they didn't convert on third down as much. So third down, 2 for 10 on third down in 18 minutes and 38 seconds. 18 minutes and 38 seconds in time of possession. So that's not going to cut it, right? Especially against a team like Miami. So those are some negative circle moments there. The thing about Ole Miss, though, is the story behind everything. Yes, Lane Kiffin went to LSU. Yes, they were dealing with adversity on how to overcome that while, dealing with the portal, new coach with Pete Golding. Well, not new coach. They've had Pete Golding, but Pete Golding taking the reins and everything going on with recruiting and the portal, the calendar, all that. They were the biggest adversity in this. And they made a really deep playoff run. And I admire that about Ole Miss and Pete Golding. Their story was great. It was fun to watch them go all the way to the semifinals. Congratulations to them. I felt like I said, I'm going to keep saying it, the game probably should have gotten out of hand, but they didn't let it get out of hand. In the words of Pete Golding, in the words of Pete Golding and Ole Miss, they spot the ball and they played, right? I want to add a little bit of a right like Pete Golding does when he says, when he talks. So they played hard. They played physical at the very end, but Miami was just the better team at the very end. So Ole Miss, I can't wait to see what Pete Golding does as his first full season in 2026. We may do a spring outlook on Ole Miss coming up here in the spring. Curious to see how they're going to play, curious to see how they're going to recruit. They have a really good transfer portal class right now. They're top 5 in the transfer portal, I believe. I believe they are, if I'm not mistaken, number 5. They are in number 5, right? So we're going to see what happens there. We're going to see what happens with Ole Miss heading into the spring, and we are going to remember that Ole Miss It's a different age in college football. Anybody can make the playoff. Anybody, it seems like, can capitalize, and anybody can have that sort of success. And with the NIL, with the portal, and with how everything is in the sport now, everybody can have some level of success. It seems like, and Ole Miss had that level of success this year. So, congratulations to them. Congratulations. A lot of people are going to probably knock on me for this. And congratulations to Lane Kiffin. He set that team up, and now they made a good run. And Pete Golding finished that run too. So congratulations to Pete Golding. Congratulations to Kiffin. Congratulations to Ole Miss. And they had a good season. So final score of this game was 31-27. Ole Miss is going back to Oxford. Miami is going to the national championship on Monday. It was a back-and-forth game, man. Classic of a game. Ole Miss was about to hit a game-winning. It could have been a game-winning touchdown maybe, but, the back and forth between Ole Miss and Miami at the very end happened, and good no call, and Miami wins the game. But going to be very interesting to see what happens in the national championship. Good Fiesta Bowl. We were on the edge of our seats with it, so congratulations to Miami for advancing to the national championship. Final score was 31-27. Miami defeats Ole Miss in the Fiesta Bowl. Let's talk about the Peach Bowl, and then we'll go to our transfer portal talk, and we'll wrap everything up. Man, the Peach Bowl was a interesting game. I said Indiana was going to win this game 24-7. I thought Indiana, even though it is hard to beat a team twice, I believe that Indiana could do it. I believe Indiana is a strong team. I believe they're making a dominant run right now. Kirk Cinnetti's just winning. He's on fire. I could not bet against Indiana again. I couldn't do it. And I didn't. And I picked Indiana to win, and I was right. I didn't think the game was going to be all that close. I didn't think it was going to be like this, but I didn't think it was going to be all that close. And I was right on both accounts, but I was wrong on the score. I did not think the score was going to be like this. I didn't think the overall game was going to be like this. Final score was Indiana 56, Oregon 22. Indiana 56, Oregon 22. Indiana dominated from the opening jump. A pick six is what was the first play of the game. The first play of the game, Dante Moore throws a pick six, and Indiana is up 7-0 in 11 seconds. That sums up how Indiana is this season to me. It sums up how good the Hoosiers are. It sums up how good overall and elite they are and have been this season. Positive circle moment. Fernando Mendoza, the Heisman Trophy winner. Heisman Mendoza, man. Let me go on and tell you, dude. 17 for 20, 177 yards, and 5 touchdowns. This man had 3 incompletions again. 3! He is putting up some numbers that incompletion numbers at least, when it comes to completions and attempts, that we have not seen in a minute. It's been probably since 2019, 2020. You probably remember Mac Jones and Joe Burrow, but they're completing passes. It's not stopping. It's not stopping when it comes to completing passes. 17 for 20, 177 yards, 5 touchdowns. No, he may not have he may not have passed 200 passing yards. Probably not in the Rose Bowl. Probably not in the Peach Bowl, but he's dropping 5 touchdowns. He dropped 5 touchdowns with only 3 incompletions. That's insane. He also had 28 rushing yards, 6 rushing attempts, 6 carries. 6 carries, 28 yards, 4.7 yards on average. Kalen Black, 2 touchdowns, 63 yards, 12 carries. Roman Hinby had 53 yards, 17 carries. Elijah Surratt was an absolute animal in this game. 75 yards, 2 touchdowns, 7 receptions. Charlie Becker had a touchdown, 48 yards, and 2 receptions in this game. Omar Cooper had a touchdown. EJ Williams had a touchdown. Touchdown for you. Touchdown here. Touchdown here. D'Angelo Pons had an interception in this game as well for the pick six. So overall, the positive circle moment was the defense of this game. Overall, both sides of the ball really, but the defense of this game, they played really good against Oregon. I know the numbers on the paper doesn't show maybe. The Oregon's got some good numbers, but Oregon played well. But Indiana was just a more physical team, I believe. Indiana was very physical on defense, on offense. They played aggressive. They played with an edge. They played with a toughness, and they played like they weren't going to be denied. Indiana's been playing like that all year. Like we have a goal that we're going after, and we're going to achieve it. And if we're going to have to run you over in the process, we're going to do that. This is not the first time Indiana has blown somebody out. We saw it in week 4, I believe. Week 5, I believe. Week 3. Is it either week 3 or week 4? Maybe week 4 with Illinois. We saw that at home against a home game in Bloomington, Indiana, against Illinois, and it wasn't close. I picked Illinois to win that game, by the way, and they made me eat my words. They made me eat my words all year. Positive circle moment was the overall team, offense, defense, special teams. They were the physical team in this game. They had 6.6 yards per run, 6 yards per play. They had 185 rushing yards. That's a positive circle moment. And they had 362 total yards of offense. I mean, 11 for 14 on third down. Positive circle moment. They just would not stop converting on third down. 1 sack allowed. They only can allow 1 sack, and they won the time of possession battle. I think the overall thing for me, I mean, I don't really know what to say for negative, honestly. I think the overall thing, maybe, I mean, what's the best thing to do? Pad up your passing yards? Because I'm looking here, and it's like, to me, there's no negative circle moment I can think with Indiana. There was not a negative circle moment in the Rose Bowl. I can't think of anything for Indiana. I really can't. I thought about something for Miami for negative. Maybe they had, 3 punts in the game? Maybe don't punt as much. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what to do. Throughout the playoffs, Mendoza's only incompleted 5 times. 5 times. He's showing everybody why he won the Heisman Trophy. I don't know what else to say. I just don't. They're blowing everybody out. They're on their way to maybe winning a national title. Maybe. It is hard to say anything bad about Indiana right now. Miami is a good team. They're a very good football team. I don't know if they've played anybody like this yet this season. Yes, they played A&M. They played Ohio State. Indiana also beat Ohio State. Ohio State and Indiana played each other really, really close. Yes. Indiana is just going on a tear right now in the playoff. I just don't know if Miami has played anybody like this. So complete. The Joker said during an interrogation scene in The Dark Knight, I'm a nerd, I watch those movies. He says to Batman, right? He goes, what would I do without you? You know, you complete me. And that's what Indiana is doing in college football right now. They're completing each other. The offense is completing the defense. They're completing each other. They're complete. And I don't know what else to say other than there's all positives and there's no negatives. I have not been flabbergasted like that in a minute when it comes to finding a negative, because there's not one. There's truly not one. Indiana dominated this game. They looked really, really good. They looked like they could. I'm not going to give a pick yet, but you probably already know where I'm leaning. They look like they could hoist up that trophy next Monday. And they look like they could do it. So we're going to figure it out and we'll see. Yes, Miami has the advantage at home. They have a home national title. It's great. They have the line of scrimmage play. They're physical. They have some playmakers. Here's the caveat to that. Number one, I don't think Indiana cares that they're going to your house. That's number one. Number two, they have the weapons to combat what you have. Maybe not on paper with the 5 stars. They don't have any 5 stars. That's what's so crazy about this game. Oregon had a bunch of 5 stars. Indiana did not. So it proves Kirk Herbstreit's point. It proves that a lot of people who are going to hate on this, it's the truth. Yes, 5 stars are great. You can go chase 5 stars. I would still go after a 5-star, but guess what? At the end of the day, you're going to have to go build a team that is talented, yes, but a team that has experience. And Indiana has some experience. Pat Coogan, prime example. He entered the portal after the national championship last year. He went to the national championship with Notre Dame last year. He's going to the national championship with Indiana now because Indiana ended up going out and building up their O-line, building up some pieces that are a team-based thing. Josh Hoover next year, if Mendoza, which I think he will, declares for the draft, they got to go replace him and get a quarterback out there. Hoover's a good. He may not be a 5-star type quarterback, but he's a solid enough quarterback to get the job done. I'm a big Josh Hoover guy. They brought him in coming into this portal class. We may talk about Josh Hoover here in a little bit. They're building a team, not just based on talent, but based on experience. People who have been there. And I think that's so. And not only that, a team that wants to play for each other, guys that want to play for each other, that want to be there. That's not just about the NIL. It's about a team effort, a team sport that want to play for each other. Miami, same thing. Miami has some 5-stars, probably more than Indiana. Obviously, probably more than Indiana because they have 0 5-stars. But Oregon probably has a little bit more than Miami. But here's the deal with Miami. They have some talent, but they're trying to play for each other. They want to play for each other. They want to build a team around each other. They want to have a team mentality and want to play for each other in this game to make a national title. That's why they're on that stage. That is why they're on that stage. And Indiana's doing the same thing. They have a team. I'm with Kirk Herbstreit. Yes, it is okay. And I don't think Kirk Herbstreit is saying it's not okay to go chase 5-stars. It's okay to get some 5-star players. But at the end of the day, we're forgetting about the main course of everything. And the main course is to build a team full of everyone, not just a whole 5-star. Because at the end of the day, if you build 5-star, 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 and you're just focusing on money with everything, it's going to turn into an NIL and me mindset. Therefore, with a me mindset in a team sport, how are you going to go to the national championship? You know what I mean? How are you going to get to the stage? You're not going to get there. So you got to go and build a team and recruit guys in a more experienced but old school way of thinking of, hey, look, come play here, but you're going to be about the team. That's a message. You got to send that out to everybody in the portal, in high school. We will spend and use the NIL resources, but I'm going to tell you what, man. We're going to give you the NIL stuff. We're going to do all that, but you're going to have to be a team player in this. Everybody has to know their role and has a job to do in a team environment. And that is what college football is about and should be about. So Indiana's got that. So does Miami. Final score was 56-22. Indiana's going to the national championship. I went on a whole tangent there. Indiana is just simply elite. That's all you can say, really. They are simply elite. We'll see them Monday in the national championship. Cannot wait to cover that game. Let's talk about Oregon really quick. Then we're going to get to the portal, and we'll wrap up. We'll assess the two team seasons on Thursday before we do our preview predictions for the national championship. Oregon. Here's the deal. Dante Moore did not have that bad of a game because right after he threw that pick six, he drove them down the field to a touchdown. 24 for 39, 285 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Jay Harris had a touchdown. De'Aaron Hill had 86 yards, 5 carries. The rushing game was kind of iffy because they were beat up at running back. Jamari Johnson, 83 yards, 4 receptions, 1 touchdown. Jeremiah McClellan played well. I believe it was Kerry Moore played well, 28 yards, 2 receptions. Kenyon Sadiq, 29 yards, and he also had 5 receptions. Man, if you look at the team, if you look at the aspects of everything, 378 total yards, and they got beat 22-56. So 378 total yards. That's pretty good for a team that only scored 22 points. 285 passing yards. They only had 93 rushing yards because they were beat up by the running back. They had 5.7 yards per play. Other than the rushing attack, they were pretty much even across the board besides passing. They outpassed Fernando Mendoza, obviously. 8 for 13 on third down. They did fairly well on third down. 3 sacks, 5 penalties for 43 yards and then 3 turnovers. I think what happened with the 3 turnovers that's pretty much why they lost the game, and that's why the game was so out of hand, because Indiana would capitalize off those turnovers every single time, especially when it's at your own goal line. So, I mean, when it's at your own goal line, of course you're going to end up capitalizing on it. 3 turnovers in this ball game for Oregon. That's the negative circle moment there. And then 3 sacks allowed, a slight negative, but not a whole lot. They had more total plays than Indiana, too. Indiana was just faster. 3 turnovers, the biggest negative circle moment for this team, right? So, 3 turnovers for Oregon. Look, they made it farther than they did last year, and I'm going to give them credit for that. Now, are there going to be questions about Dan Lanning trying to finish and complete a playoff run? Maybe, or getting blown out in big games? Maybe against conference opponents? Maybe, sure. Who knows? Y'all have y'all's right to do everything. Everybody, my listeners, everybody out in college football world, you have the right to do that. You have the right to if you want to complain. That's everybody's right. You say what you want. But I'm also going to say what I want. And my thoughts on this. Here's my thoughts. Dan Lanning has put y'all in title contention and playoff contention ever since he's been there. Did they make it in 2022-3? Probably not. No. Did they make it in 2024? Yes, they're the number 1 seed. They made it to the Big Ten championship. Their first season in the Big Ten, they won the Big Ten title. They made it last year. They got blown out. Yes. And when the odds were against them this year, could have lost a lot of games. They lost what? This was their only loss. This is the only. They only had 2 losses, and it was against this team, against Indiana. They beat everybody else. They made it to the playoff again. They won against Texas Tech. They beat James Madison in the playoff. They made it. They made it farther than they did last year. Give it time. Dan Lanning's been there since, I don't know. Dan Lanning's been there since what? Since 2022? This is year 5, year 6, going on year 5? Year 4, I would believe, maybe. Is this year 4? Year 5 or year 4? I don't know. Year 4, maybe. Anyway, as we look here, 2022, he's been there since this will be going on year 5 for them. So, yes, year 5 for Dan Lanning. Going on year 5. Give it time. Still. He's brought you there, at least the playoff, consistently. He's brought you into contention to compete for a top conference title consistently. Pac-12 and Big Ten. He has recruited top 5 recruiting classes in high school. He's using the portal well, which we're going to talk about Oregon here in a little bit in the portal. Consistently. He's utilizing each resource well, consistently. Now, the only thing that I would can think of is what Kirk Herbstreit said. Build a team and build a roster. Yes, you're spending a lot of money on 5-star talent, and they're good. They're good players, and that's why you won a lot of your games this year. But there's a lot of teams out there that could probably match that with a team-based effort and win. Maybe try something else. Just maybe try something else. That's the only thing I could say about Dan Lanning. That's the only thing I could say about Oregon. I believe, and this is just my honest thoughts on Oregon, I believe within the next few seasons, they will probably win the national championship, or at least be in the national championship once again. There's going to be that season with Oregon, because I didn't expect that they were going to go last year. I didn't expect they were going to go. I didn't expect that they were going to go this year. I thought Ohio State was going to go last year ahead of Oregon. I didn't know they were going to go this year. To be honest, I thought it was going to be Texas and Penn State. That's a whole. That feels like ages ago. There's going to come a point in time where we look at Oregon and we think, that's the year. We snap our fingers. We slam our hand on the table and say, this is it. They're going to do it. It's coming. Just trust in the process of Dan Lanning and keep on trusting in him. Just keep on trusting. That's all you got to do. Just keep on trusting. It's coming. It's coming. It's going to happen. Just hold out a little bit. There's going to be a year, and maybe in 2026, maybe that's the year. Maybe 2026 could be the year. We don't know. We got to look on how 2026 is going to shape up. Recruiting's going to be done here in a month, and then we're going to see how the portal classes add up. We're going to see how the recruiting aspect of 2026 finishes off in February. And then after all that, we're going to assess everything, and by the way the roster could look, by the way the schedule could look, it may be. That's it. So we'll see what happens. It's coming, though. It may happen in 2026, 7, whenever, but there's going to come a point in time, I'm going to keep saying it, where we're going to snap our fingers and say, Oregon, that's the team right there. They're going to win it all. Or at least go to the national championship. Final score, 56-22. Indiana defeats Oregon. Oregon's going back to Eugene. Indiana is going to the national championship against Miami on Monday. Cannot wait to cover that game. 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central on ESPN. Indiana, Miami. Cannot wait to cover that one. The national championship, another national championship here at Pigskin Frenzy. That is the College Football Playoff Semifinal recaps. We will assess those two teams' season coming up on Thursday before we preview and predict that game on Thursday. Let's talk a little bit before we wrap up here and wrap up Pigskin Frenzy here. Let's discuss the transfer portal, and let's discuss some key players and some key moments and some key transfers that I like and I wanted to talk about. Just talk about here early on. The portal window is open. It's been open since the 2nd. It closes on Friday. We're going to have a transfer portal episode. We're going to have a full-on portal episode. We're going to discuss the rankings, who finishes with what. We're going to discuss all that. We will probably do that in a couple of weeks. We'll probably do that on the 27th, January 27th episode of Pigskin Frenzy. We will do that there, and then we'll start getting into recruiting and talk about that, and that's how we will kick off our offseason that way. Before we get into the top 50 Frenzy games of the 2025 season, because we're going to have that list. Don't worry. We'll talk about that here after next Tuesday, because next Tuesday we'll wrap up the 2025 season that way, and we'll wrap up the 2025 season next week, and then try to push onward to 2026. But just some key moments for the portal class. So we're not going to have a full-on portal episode, but we're just going to discuss some moments in the portal that we've seen, some moves that we've liked. And discuss some thoughts and our takes on it heading into 2026. So, we're going to kick it off with kind of the big one that we saw the other day. It made headways on Saturday, and as you see on the monitor on the screen here, it made headways on Sunday. Texas, they're the number 2 team right now in the portal, I would say right now. Currently, the portal, number 2 team in the portal. That's because they got probably the best receiver in the portal in Cam Coleman. So Auburn transfer wide receiver, has transferred to Texas. Auburn transfer wide receiver, Cam Coleman has transferred to Texas. If you want to create and start creating your quarterback wide receiver duo preseason for 2026, you can do that and create your list and put Arch and Cam on there, because that's going to be a duo. Arch Manning has found a great receiver in Cam Coleman. Cam Coleman would catch a football over double covered over 2 guys who were pretty heavily covering him. He still finds a way to make the catch. He still finds a way to make plays. Cam Coleman is a stud. He is going to be probably the, I would say, second best receiver in the 2027 draft, maybe, if he declares. I know Jeremiah Smith will probably be number one, and I will put Jeremiah Smith number one. But number two could probably be Cam Coleman. I'm going to be real, dude. If you look up the receiving core and class for the 2027 draft and who's eligible, right? You have studs. You have studs. If you want to be real. I mean, look, Isaiah Horton. He was from Alabama. He transferred to Texas A&M. You got him. You have Jeremiah Smith, obviously. You have Cam Coleman. You got some studs, not just in the SEC and the Big Ten, but in that receiving class. And for 2027, that could be eligible, that are going to be really, really good and could be really good for the NFL draft in 2027. So I'm just going to say this, right? You got some studs there, man. I'm not going to lie. You got some studs in that class, and Cam Coleman's one of them. He's the number one transfer recruit on On3 Sports top transfer portal players via On3, right? The On3 ranking is number one. He in the industry, he's probably number one too. But yeah, Texas, man, that's going to be a very good fit for him. Alabama was in the fold for him. Texas, I guess Texas just made a better offer. And not only that, man, the quarterback play is going to be better too for him. I mean, look, he was making plays like that when he was when Auburn was having trouble finding a consistent quarterback. Now he has a consistent quarterback throwing to him, which is Arch Manning. And Arch Manning is probably going to be a lot better next year as well. So I would watch out for that. That could be a dangerous duo. Could be a dangerous offense with Cam Coleman in it. I love the move. I really do. Good one by Texas. Good one by Texas for picking up Cam Coleman at receiver. So huge for Texas and huge for Longhorn Nation. So Cam Coleman going to Texas. I love that move. It's probably going to be my favorite move and top transfer move there. Let's talk about another one. There's a few more. There's a couple. Let's talk about one man. He came from Cincinnati and is going to Texas Tech. Brendan Sorsby going from Cincinnati to Texas Tech. Texas Tech needed a quarterback. Baron Morton was leaving, and they got him. They got him for I think about 3.3. 3 to 5 million. Probably it's more than most quarterbacks make in the NFL on their contracts, on their rookie contracts at least too. Brendan Sorsby going to Texas Tech. Very interesting move there. It was coming down to either Texas Tech or LSU. He chose Texas Tech. They had the pieces, man. Especially Malcolm Simmons. Malcolm Simmons going from Auburn to Texas Tech. That's a 1-2 punch there as well. A quarterback wide receiver duo at Texas Tech. He's got somebody to throw to him now. That could be a problem for Big 12 defenses as well. I think Sorsby fits in with Joey McGuire and what Leftwich is doing on offense there. I think it's a good move. I think he fits in. I think they can go win another Big 12 title. I think they can make a deeper run in the playoffs. What he can do with his legs, his accuracy, and his decision-making is pretty on par. He is probably, I don't know, I think he's the seventh best quarterback, or he's a top 10 quarterback in the transfer portal class right now. So Sorsby, really big commitment for Texas Tech. They got their guy. Cannot wait to see him with the Red Raiders in 2026. But I think this is a good move for Texas Tech. They really needed somebody that can has really good decision making. And don't get me wrong, Baron Morton was good. I think Sorsby can be better for them. And I think Sorsby, with his arm, with his legs, with his timing and decision making, he can be bring a very good veteran presence to the quarterback room and to that offense in Lubbock. So cannot wait to see what happens there with Brendan Sorsby. Another move, like I said, Josh Hoover. We're going to get into I know what y'all are going to wait on. Y'all are probably waiting on it. We're going to talk about it. Trust me. I've been waiting on it too. We're going to talk about it. But let's talk about Josh Hoover really quick. Hoover going to Indiana. I keep sharing the video on X of when he was at TCU, and we were talking about the Big 12 Media Days back in July. Wow, it seems like a long time. Where we were talking about him being a breakout player in the Big 12. He had a really good first game against North Carolina. He had some good games this season, but then there was a lot of games where, Josh Hoover probably did cost him a little bit. I think Indiana, with a team environment like Indiana, he fits in. He fits in with what Mike Shanahan's doing. I think he fits in perfect with the Hoosiers. I think with a team-oriented, team mindset, team-oriented, that sold Josh Hoover. And I think with Josh Hoover, instead of Hoosiers, it's Hoover. Get it? That was okay. We won't say that again. I think it's a really good get for Indiana. He will start, most likely, if Fernando Mendoza declares. I think he will declare. I think Hoover's going to start in 2026. But it's really going to be a good fit for their offense. I think he will be really good for Indiana, and he'll have some experienced guys around him as well, and some playmakers like Nick Marsh. Nick Marsh is going to Indiana as well from Michigan State. He'll have Nick Marsh to throw to, and that's going to be a really good get. That's a really good get for Indiana as well. Indiana is doing quite well in the portal. If we look here, I believe they're top 10. They're number 9 in the portal rankings right now. They're doing quite well. So just don't sleep on Indiana, anytime soon, all right? I mean, especially in the future. I know they're in the national championship right now. Yeah, they're a powerhouse. They are building like a powerhouse. So Google Kirk Cinetti, he wins. So good one for picking up Josh Hoover. I know what y'all wanted to talk about. I know what y'all are going to talk about. We got to talk about LSU, and we got to talk about the guy that they just picked up. Yes, the other day they picked up Elon quarterback Landon Clark. He's going to be adding some tremendous depth to that quarterback room. He's a really good quarterback. But the number one quarterback in the transfer portal was Sam Leavitt. They were pursuing him, and then the Demond Williams thing kind of left a bad taste in his mouth a little bit. He wanted to start visiting other schools. So how about Lane Kiffin? After the Demond Williams thing falls through, how about Lane Kiffin gets on a plane, goes into a territory where in Knoxville, Tennessee, after Sam Leavitt concluded his visit to Tennessee with Josh Heupel and everything, Lane Kiffin goes from Baton Rouge to Knoxville and ends up landing in hostile territory where, number one, he's hated. He's not liked in Tennessee, which is crazy because that was years ago. But he goes there, gets in contact with Sam Leavitt, meets with him, and makes an offer to him. And Sam Leavitt is transferring to LSU. I mean, that's crazy. Arizona State quarterback, or transfer quarterback, Sam Leavitt is committing and transferring to LSU. He will most likely be LSU starting quarterback in the 2026 season. If anything changes, he's committed now. Tennessee is willing to make an offer and one final offer to try to get him to flip and sign with Tennessee. I think he will do well at LSU or Tennessee. I think he fits in with LSU's offense a little bit more than Tennessee's offense. Yes, he does an RPO offense. He does an RPO offense with Kenny Dillingham at Arizona State. I think Lane Kiffin has a similar offensive style to Kenny Dillingham there. And that's why it's a good fit for him to be at LSU. He fits the offense there. He fits the playbook. He fits the style of play that Lane Kiffin brings on offense. And Sam Leavitt could be a really good quarterback for LSU coming up. They land the number one quarterback in the portal. A lot of people were hating on LSU because Lane Kiffin. Oh, what's Lane Kiffin going to do? He can't land nobody. We got Deuce Knight, and Deuce Knight going to Ole Miss is going to be a problem for the SEC. He most likely will start unless anything happens with the Trinidad Chambliss situation. It's looking like Trinidad Chambliss may end up leaving Ole Miss. If Deuce Knight starts next year, that's going to be a problem for defenses. They're going to have to figure out a way to game plan around that. But everyone was making fun of LSU for not getting a quarterback and not having one yet. They go and get the best one out of everybody. They get the number one quarterback in the portal. So let's just kind of chill out. Because now, with that move, LSU's the number one ranked team in the transfer portal class. Once again, they were the number one team last year. They're the number one team this year. But let's see if they utilize it and do it right this time. Let's see if with coaching, with good coaching, if LSU can make it. The way their offense is looking is awesome. They brought back Caden Durham from the portal. Caden Durham withdrew his name from the portal. They bring back Harlem Berry. They have Trey Brown from Old Dominion going to LSU. They have J.C. Brown, a dynamic, speedy receiver from Kansas State. He went to LSU. They bring in Eugene Wilson, veteran receiver from Florida. Yeah, he's going to LSU. So they got three great receivers, two solid running backs, and then they bring back Tradez Green at tight end, who is a nightmare for defenses in the SEC and could be a nightmare for defenses in college football. One of the best in the sport. They have weapons on offense. Finally, it's starting to add up. They just got to build up more on the offensive line, bring some pieces on the defense together, and they have a team again. And if they have a team again, LSU can be right back in it very soon. So let's just pause. Let's just pause a little bit. They bring back Whit Weeks as well on the linebacker spot. So LSU's stacking up, man. Sam Levitt at quarterback, very good fit there. I think he is a dangerous move. It really is. It's a dangerous move. And I say dangerous move. I don't think they're not dangerous for him. It's dangerous for everybody else. I think he's going to be really good for LSU. LSU found their guy, I believe. If it sticks, if Tennessee doesn't change anything, if Tennessee makes an offer he can't refuse and he goes to Tennessee, I think he stays with LSU. I think there's a problem there for defenses with LSU's offense with Lane Kiffin and Sam Levitt there together. So going to be very, very interesting at LSU and in Baton Rouge. Man, some key pieces in the portal, man. Some key pieces in the portal. Lagway to Baylor. You have John Henry Daly going from Utah to Michigan. Instantly, probably one of the best players, if not the best player on that team in Michigan. Literally, he's the top 4 player. He's committed to Michigan. You look at the monitor here. Drew Mestemaker going to Oklahoma. Byron Brown going to they're going to Oklahoma State, Drew Mestemaker is. Byron Brown going to Auburn, which we knew what was happening. Man, there's a lot of things happening in the portal right now. It's an active transfer portal, probably the most active I've seen it. Oklahoma State is building. I believe they're the number 2. Yeah, number 4. The number 4 transfer portal class right now. Eric Morris is putting in work. So keep an eye on Oklahoma State, especially with Drew Mestemaker at quarterback, with Caleb Hawkins now there at running back there. They're bringing in a lot of guys from North Texas who are really solid. They're talented players. Oklahoma State is building there. They have about, I believe, only 1 5-star, and they have about 4 4-stars. And they have about, 35 3-stars, right? So they have more 3-stars than 5-stars. They only have 1 5-star guy. They're building the team, Oklahoma State is. So let's keep an eye on that in the Big 12 as well with Eric Morris. He's a good play caller. It could be a risky hire. It could be a good hire. Who knows? But we'll see what happens. They got a really good quarterback in Drew Mestemaker, and he has the keys to the kingdom there. One more before we go, because I almost forgot about it. Let's talk about Oregon. Oregon got a new quarterback in the portal. His name is Dylan Raiola. Nebraska transfer quarterback Dylan Raiola is transferring to Oregon. Dan Lanning is going to use Dylan Raiola. Now, here's the caveat to that. Will Dante Moore enter the draft? We're going to get to that here in a little bit. Dylan Raiola can do really well with Oregon. He actually did way better than last year with Nebraska. He put up some great numbers at Nebraska this year. He just felt like that. He probably felt like it was time for him to evolve. He can evolve at Oregon with a team. He's got the team to do it with Oregon. He's got the weapons at Oregon. He's got the receivers at Oregon. Dylan Raiola does. And he could be a really good fit at Oregon. I think it's a good move for Dylan Raiola. He's got an arm. He has got the playmaking ability. He can change the game like that. And he is going to thrive at Oregon. I really do. I think he'll do really well there. Now, here's the deal. other than Dylan Raiola. Dante Moore, is he going to stay or go? I think Dylan Raiola did really well. I honestly think, and this is my take, Dante Moore should stay. Dylan Raiola should back him up and learn a year under him and then start in 2027. That's me. That's my process. I think if you can put a red shirt on him as fast as you can. Red shirt your junior year and play in 2027 and preserve another year of eligibility for 2028 or what have you. I think that's just me. That's me in my thinking. I think that Dante Moore should stay at Oregon. And a lot of people are going to think, dude, why? If he's considered top 3, yeah, go. I get it. Here's the deal, man. I think he's a good quarterback. I think he can develop in some areas more, though. I would like to see him develop and stay and develop. Let me tell you why. Some of the plays that he has made this year, he was a little bit too quick on, a little bit jumpy on. Prime example, watch last Friday. Watch last Friday and immediately hikes the ball and throws it immediately. And then Indiana jumps it. Let the play develop. Let the play develop a little bit. I think that's what he can work on. He can work on play development, work on timing, and work on just being patient in development of plays, and just be patient as a quarterback. I think he's a good quarterback. I think he could be a Heisman winning quarterback. I don't think to me, a lot of people are seeing the future with him right now, which is good because I think he could probably be a good NFL quarterback. I just don't know if he's ready for the NFL right now. Prove me wrong. No, prove me. I hope they prove me wrong. I really do. I hope if he does declare, and I hope he makes me eat my words when I watch him. But I just don't know if he is exactly ready for the NFL right now. That's my thoughts. That's in my opinion. I don't know if he's ready for the NFL right now. I think next year he will be ready for the NFL. Give him another year of experience, and then let Dylan Raiola back him up and learn from him and redshirt Raiola and let him have another year of eligibility. That way, Oregon's good at quarterback for the next few seasons. So that's my honest thoughts. Honestly, that's really my honest thoughts. But Dylan Raiola going to Oregon, he's the future of that program, I think, and he's going to do good. He's going to do good. There's one more that I thought about. And I see, I keep thinking about this stuff before we head out. One more before we wrap up and get right to Thursday. Let's keep an eye out for Ty Simpson. And a lot of people are going to think, okay, he's declared for the draft. He may still be in the draft. He may declare for the draft. What I read and hear is about the the money that he could have when he enters the portal. A lot of people are going to offer him some money, some NIL deals to enter the portal, and they will give him that NIL money to get a transfer from Alabama to another school, which could happen. I mean, Austin Mack's coming back for Alabama. Keelan Russell's coming back for Alabama. I believe the competition probably for Alabama is going to be between them. Here's my deal. I believe Alabama will have a new starting quarterback next year. I believe it's either going to be Keelan Russell or Austin Mack. Could be Keelan Russell because he's a dynamic quarterback, Keelan Russell is. I think Simpson is either going to enter the portal or go to the draft. And I think Simpson really could. I would not be surprised if Simpson withdraws and goes to the portal. I wouldn't be surprised, especially with that. That's a good amount of NIL value money right there. So, look, I think it could be a good move either way. It could be a good move to develop a little bit more, maybe at another school, maybe up your draft stock more, maybe. But maybe yet again, maybe there's no development left. Maybe he's good where he's at, and maybe he wants to declare for the draft. So who knows? I wouldn't be surprised either way, but watch out for Simpson here in the next few days. Maybe he could pull a Carson Beck and enter the portal. Who knows? We'll see. But that's just my thoughts. That's just what I'm thinking about. So That is the key moves in the portal here lately. We will have a full-on transfer portal episode within the next 2 weeks, probably on the January 27th episode of Pigskin Frenzy after the college football season concludes. So, guys, we're marching toward the national championship. We are out of time. A big thank you for taking some time out of your Tuesday to just sit back, watch, and listen to some college football coverage presented by me. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, like each episode, leave comments down below. Spotify, Podbean, and Apple. All you got to do is just share around with others and follow on there as well. X and Instagram is at pigskin_frenzy. Follow, like the pages there. And then the website's www.pigskinfrenzy.weebly.com. Guys, like I said, 6,400 listeners, man. We are climbing and climbing across all audio platforms. A big thank you for tuning in each and every Tuesday and Thursday. And not only that, we're so thankful that the Lord is with us and the Lord has put us in this position to cover college football, because without him, we would not be here. We would not be doing this. And we give him all the glory and all the praise for delivering us in college football. We're going to continue to spread the name of Jesus around here, and we're going to continue to preach him and further him, because we give him praise, because it's for his gain and not ours. So we give him all the glory and all the praise. Guys, Thursday, we're going to preview and predict the national championship game between Indiana and Miami. Instead of just saying Indiana versus Miami, it's technically Indiana at Miami. So we're going to preview and predict the national championship there. We're going to recap both teams' seasons. We're going to recap Miami's season, recap Indiana's season, and we're going to preview and predict the national championship game. A lot of people are going to wonder who my guest picker is. Well, it's looking like right now you're going to end it with yours truly. You're going to end it with just me. And I think it's a good way to end it. And I'm going to tell you why it's a good way to end it before we conclude and wrap up here. It's a good way to end it because it started with us. It started with me. It started with y'all. And I think it's a really good way to end the season. We made a good run out of it as well. Maybe next year, we'll have a guest picker for the national championship. But we've had a guest picker up until the semifinals of the college football playoff, like week 1 all the way through the college football playoff semifinals. So we've done really, really good with having guests on and bringing some new friends on to Pigskin Frenzy. It's been awesome. It's been a tremendous season, a big season for Pigskin Frenzy, and we're just getting started as we head into year 4, as we head into February, and we're going to wrap it up with just us, I believe, coming up on Thursday. So stay tuned for Thursday's episode. We're going to preview and predict the national championship. Tune into Thursday. Going to be great as we recap both teams' season and preview and predict the national championship game. And until Thursday's episode of Pigskin Frenzy, I'm Joel Norris, signing off. We will see you then. For everybody out there, please and always, we're praying for you all. Stay the course.